This presentation will give an introduction to Archery GB's classifications, covering the range of awards available and how to go about achieving them. There are 9 different classification levels available to archers, which are grouped into 3 sets of 3. An archer starts off with the Archer tier, with 3rd class, 2nd class and 1st class awards. Then they move up to the Bowman tier, again with 3rd class, 2nd class and 1st class, and then finally the Master Bowman tier, where the naming gets a little more fun, with Master Bowman, Grandmaster Bowman and Elite Master Bowman. These levels cover the full range of experience for the vast majority of archers, with Archer 3rd class available by many new archers within their first year or two in the sport, whereas Elite Master Bowman is a challenge for even the very best in the country to maintain. The bow style, gender and age of the archer determines the table they look the scores up from. The scores across different rounds are calculated from the handicap tables. Additionally to the skill element, each award has requirements for the minimum distances required, the number of arrows which need to be shot, and the type of event that the scores are shot at. In total, there are 4 bow styles, 2 genders, 8 age groups, and 9 classifications, giving a total of 576 different awards. As it represents the largest group of the membership, we shall use adults shooting a recurve bow as the example to explain how the classifications work. Whenever a specific distance, round or score is mentioned, this will be different for other bow styles or ages. A link to the full tables is available in the description below. The Archer tier is designed so that a wide range of club archers should be able to achieve one of its levels. We begin with the Archer 3rd class award. To achieve this award, the archer needs to shoot a number of complete rounds totaling at least 144 or 12 dozen arrows. For the sake of simplicity, we shall assume that the archer is shooting national rounds or metric 122 rounds, which is 72 arrows in total, so they need to shoot 2 rounds at the required level. The whole classification needs to be completed within 1 calendar year. Each round must include a distance of at least 30 yards or 30 metres, so the national 30 or the metric 122/30 are ideal. The archer completes the round, then compares the score to the minimum score required for that classification. If the score achieved is at least that many points, then the scored round contributes towards their classification. The table shows that there are 3rd class scores for longer rounds too, so archers are not obliged to shoot the shortest distance round for any given classification. We recommend that archers are typically shooting in the bold region. Once the archer has shot 2 6-dozen rounds at that level, they have 144 counting arrows, so they have achieved the award. Congratulations! The archer may then look at aiming for the Archer 2nd class award. Archers don't have to complete them in order. In any year you can start at any level, but new archers might find it helpful to work through the levels one at a time. The 2nd class award is completed in much the same way, but 2 aspects get more difficult. Firstly, the round must now include a distance of 40 yards or 40 metres, so the national 40 or metric 122/40, and secondly, the overall standard of shooting required increases, so a similar score level must now be achieved on the longer distance. The archer may then progress to the Archer 1st class award, which now requires 50 yards or 50 metres for men and women. At these levels, going through the process of shooting the complete rounds is the most important part. We encourage clubs to make these awards as accessible as possible, with scores being shot in practice being acceptable. That said, we do encourage the score to be shot following the rules of shooting and to be witnessed by another archer to ensure the integrity of the scoring process. This level of classifications is typically administered by club records officers or coaches, so ask them what requirements they have. Above the Archer 1st class classification, archers move up to the Bowman tier. Archers at this level are typically taking part in competitive events from club level right up to national level. To discuss the rounds which need to be shot for Bowman tier classifications, we need to take a short diversion to one of the key concepts of the classification system, the prestige rounds. Each archer has 3 rounds which for competitive and historical reasons are more prestigious than other rounds. Each category has 3 such rounds which vary depending on their bow style, gender and age. The first category are those prescribed by World Archery for international competition and equivalent rounds for categories not recognised by World Archery. For recurves, this would be the 70-metre round, used at the Olympics since 1992, with the 60-metre round for 50 plus and under 18. Compound and barebow archers use their newer rounds at 50 metres, and it is expected that as World Archery continues to update their competition formats, that the rounds shot will change to reflect international competition. The second category are the former standard World Archery rounds used in international competitions from 1955 to 2013. These rounds are now known as the 1440s, but may still be referred to as feeters. These challenging rounds consist of 36 arrows at each of 4 different distances and have been adapted to shorter distances as the Archery GB metric 1 to 5 rounds. The third category are the traditional Archery GB rounds based on the York round shot at the first Grand National Archery Meeting in 1844. The variants include the Hereford and Bristol 1 to 5 rounds. These rounds have 144 arrows shot across 3 distances and have consistently represented a great challenge to archers across their nearly 200-year history. These rounds are of such current and historical importance that classification rules around distances are waived for them. Scores for an archer's prestige round and longer variants are available at all classification levels, irrespective of other restrictions. Returning to the bowman classifications, at this point the archer should be quite familiar with shooting rounds and is ready for a more formal shooting environment. Archers should now be shooting their scores at competitions, club target days, friendly matches, or even any other event in line with Rule 304. It doesn't need to be too formal, but as a guideline, it should be an event organised in advance with multiple people taking part and with rules around practice and scoring being followed as if it were a competition. The event does not need to be record status. This level of classifications is still administered at club level, so we recommend discussing events with records officers to avoid any confusion. The other major change at bowman classification is that a higher level of consistency at that level is now needed. Instead of 12 dozen arrows, the minimum requirement is now 18 dozen or 216 arrows, meaning it will involve multiple rounds at the required level across a longer period of time. You can still mix and match the rounds. This could be a Hereford and a Long National, 2 Albions, or 3 70-metre rounds. For bowman third class, archers should now be shooting rounds of at least 60 yards or 60 metres, with events such as Windsors, Nationals or WA 900s providing ideal competitive opportunities for archers to gain experience at their first record status events. Remember, the archer would now need to complete 3 rounds at this score level and in the more formal environment. For bowman second class, we now reach a minimum of 80 yards or 70 metres. For bowman first class, the distances diverge on gender lines for the first time, with the men now needing to shoot 100 yards or 90 metres. This is now the furthest competitive distance for all archers. Journeying through the bowman tier, archers are likely to have encountered their first full record status competitions and have shot a prestige round. These both now become a requirement for the master bowman tier, with only scores shot at world or UK record status events on prestige rounds eligible to count towards the classification. The level of consistency required increases significantly as well, with 36 dozen arrows, 432 total, now required, representing 3 12 dozen rounds, 6 6 dozen rounds, or a combination of the two. The Master Bowman level is the first award in this tier, requiring scores of 597 and 566 for men and women respectively at 70 metres. We then move up to the Grand Master Bowman, requiring scores of 631 and 607 on the 70-metre round, and finally to Elite Master Bowman at 659 and 640. This final level represents scores which would typically be somewhat competitive at international events. For context, the national records are 687 and 680 respectively, so while these scores are achievable, doing so consistently across a season is a huge achievement, and only a small number of archers in each category are able to do so in a given year. It's possible that no one will achieve this level in some years, especially if it's really windy all season. To claim Master Bowman classifications, you need to complete the relevant Archery GB form, including details of which competitions you shot the scores at. There are over 500 different awards covering over 18,000 target scores. The main design goal has been to ensure that for any given individual, as they develop their skills in the sport, and in the case of juniors get older, the next classification award is always an achievable goal. The secondary goal was that each classification level has approximately the same meaning for any given bow, gender and age combination. So an under 15 girl shooting bare bow at second class bowman is of an equivalent ability to a 50+ man shooting compound at second class bowman. With so many variables and a huge variety in the number of archers in any given category, this is impossible to get perfect, and the score thresholds will be reviewed from time to time in order to bring it into line. Regarding age groups, archers are reminded that they can elect to shoot in any age group they are eligible for. A 16-year-old would be eligible to use the under 18, under 21 and adult tables, and a 60-year-old could use the 50+ or adult tables. I hope this short presentation has given you an understanding of how to achieve a classification. We hope that archers of all levels will find something to work towards across the system.